everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of Manic Mixtape with myself and my best buddy, Dan Lord.
Best buddy. All right, I'll take it. Y'all heard that's on record, folks.
It is.
Sorry.
Now, this episode's a little bit different because we figure we're 5 episodes in. We should probably do our own little mixtape because the stuff that we put on each other on the compilation playlist for the show, we listen to the next day. We listen to on repeat. So now we're going to sit here and see if anything has changed with those. Have we grown to like certain songs? Have we listened to more of the band's experiences, etc., etc.? And then this will all be like one greatest hits compilation thus far in the next playlist, which I think is going to be really fun, considering the playlists already are very eclectic. So
eclectic's the word for it.
Eclectic.
It's a word for it. I like looking at these lists and going, God, that's a lot of Genesis songs.
Nah.
Well, I have to let me start by asking this: since we've done these, and since you've had some time with it, and you don't have to say this to placate me because it's a heavy band to listen to in that way. Has your opinion changed of Genesis? Has your opinion changed of Genesis at all? Feel like, whatever.
Okay.
Because I get it if it isn't. Trust me, I know.
It's like, okay, before you, I never really listened to many of the Peter Gabriel Genesis and stuff. So being open to those now was definitely an experience. And
that's a word for it.
An experience. I do enjoy it, but again, I prefer Phil's voice over the Peter Gabriel one.
I'm not going to argue with you with that because that when he left, this is just a quick aside, and then I'm going to let you. That when he left, they did Trick and they did Wind and Wuthering, and then they did that live album. It's called Seconds Out, and that live album was that's their second. I mean, it's their second live album, but a lot of those were re-recorded. And it was the first time Phil's voice was recorded singing those, not backup vocals. I'll just say it like this, just to add to what you said, because I found what you said fascinating, considering I'm wearing their shirt, and just spent over $1,000 tickets to buy 2 shows. Okay. That Phil can't even stand up, and he sold out Philly in 10 minutes. So what do you know?
Amazing.
What do I know? They suck. So not you. I mean. Not what you're saying, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I love Pete. I love Peter Gabriel. I love everybody in that band. Some more than others, some much less than others. Tony. Phil's he's literally, figuratively, not literally and figuratively, a better singer. He just is.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Pete. And there are some vocal performances on tracks that don't sound the same because it's not Pete, but Phil is a mimic, and I mean that in the most. When you listen to if you go down a YouTube hole, listen to Genesis vocals only, you could that's just Pete double tracking. It isn't. It's Phil. It's Phil and Pete. Pete and Phil. There's a. I'll bring this up in a second. Let me stay on track here. A lot of those songs. He's a trained singer. He went to stage school. Mm-hmm. He was the original Artful Dodger in the original run of Oliver in London before he went through puberty, so he never made the movie. Literally, he hits puberty, like on stage. He has, consider yourself. Oh, shit. Well, that's over. He's a better singer. He just is. And not for nothing, everybody plays that playing the Phil Collins game. And this episode's about educating each other on the bands months later. So please go off. Please tell me things. That band grew up together. So they all went away from that prog stuff to the stuff that you like better. The shorter songs, the less sci-fi, goblin-y, 8-minute song about an alien saying,
yeah,
you're all done. This is a giant plant that's killing us. Like that stuff. Phil didn't write a song until he got a divorce. I'm just saying it's not Phil's fault. The point is he is a better singer. I agree with you. So I understand why you gravitate towards that so much. And I will say this: please listen to me and Sarah Jane again.
I will.
And reevaluate that. I fucking love that song. But anyway, whatever you were saying.
No, but
go ahead.
Like, okay, it's funny because since episode 1 and that playlist, Genesis has been haunting me, but in like a good way. In that now, anytime I watch MTV Classic, the number of Genesis songs they play is like,
oh yeah,
no, this is strange. Or even like a random just Phil Collins solo song. It's sure, like yeah. This is kind of strange. That's or weird. Like my local ShopRite, they play 80s music because,
oh god,
you know, now I'm that age, so they play 80s music at the classic station. And it's like, it's Genesis, as I've noticed now, has the same appeal to people as, like, say, Prince. That's my best example. Because there have been times when I've been in ShopRite and a Prince song comes on and you hear random people singing along. And I'm like, yeah, and like, you know, we party in the aisles. But I've noticed too, like, the occasional Genesis song has the same effect. Like, now when I'm in there, I'm singing along to practically everything. You know, they're playing Bananarama. I'm like, yeah, Venus, and you know, all that. But like, very rarely does a song come on that you hear people in every aisle sing when you're walking. And I've noticed it with Prince and Genesis. And I thought that was amazeballs. Then though, I went and did another podcast. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
According to Woods.
Yeah.
And him and I hung out after the show, just bullshitting about music for a while. His whole thing was about Genesis. He loves Genesis.
Am I not feeling it? Can somebody tag me, please, on these shows?
Well, I told him, because it was after the show was finished, and I told him, I was like, you and my friend Dan would have so much to talk about. He loves Genesis. He saw them live in concert. But since he worked at the venue and he had gotten such great feedback from him being an employee, one of the head people of the venue let him watch them rehearse.
Oh, the sound right, yeah, the rehearsal, yeah.
Yeah, and he like had spoken to Phil because the song they were playing was one that brought him to tears that he loves to death. So Phil like spoke to him, and I'm just sitting here like, I can't escape Genesis now.
Yeah, that's great.
But again, it was in every like positive way that Genesis has followed me since that.
What's his Twitter account?
According to Woods.
Because I remember I was retweeting the shows and watching those, and then
yeah, we talked about it again. We talked about it after the show was over, and I'm just sitting there, and Davian's laughing in the background because he hears the name Genesis and Phil Collins, and he's like, "Oh my god, him and Dan would get along wonderfully." But yes, that's him. So. Again, it's the music that you've shared in the playlist. Again, some I knew, some I didn't. And then now that I hear Genesis just following me, definitely has brought me a new appreciation for the band and for their songs. Because now, just in talking to you, I know so much more about them that it has a whole new outlook for me with them as a band.
I just tweeted him. I said, a mutual friend of ours told me you like Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
Adam K. Woods?
Yes.
Yep. I got to say that. Cool. That'll start a conversation. Yeah, it's... I think what people forget, because... Here's a perfect example. And we'll move on from Genesis, because I don't want to... I'll talk about it for hours, but nobody else wants to hear that shit. I was talking to somebody who used to work for me at a company that will remain nameless. 18, 19 years old. We're talking about music, just randomly talk about music in a group of us. She says, and I mentioned Phil, and she goes, who's Phil Collins? I hear you mention him all the time. And I said, In the Air Tonight. That's my go-to, because people go, I know that one. Did it. Yeah. Cut to, she did know that. She didn't know the name of it. She know, oh yeah, the drum. Yeah, I know that guy. So I was like, In the Air Tonight didn't do it. I was like, Tarzan? She goes, oh, yeah, I love that. I was like, oh, no. But at the same time, I was like, there's not a lot of bands that stitch through time, through a different generation in different ways, right? Because Pete's got that song at the, you know, this movie WALL-E, right?
Yes, I know the one. Seth is singing the song constantly.
Well, because it's fucking good. It's really good. You know, Pete's been on Babe, but Pete's got a song with Randy Newman on Babe too, Pig in the City. Phil, what people don't know about Phil, and got to put over Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks alone, the guitar player and the keyboard player, to put it more simply, became hit writing machines in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Atlantic Confusion's Mike. That's All is Tony. Me and Sarah Jane is Tony, by the way. He's the depressing romantic, even though he's been married and he hasn't had a divorce. Looking at you, Phil. I Can't Dance is Mike and Tony, not Phil. Phil wrote the lyrics. Those get, it's all based on a guitar. Mike and the Mechanics, The Living Years, right? Living Years is a song generationally people can relate to. It's not aged very well. It was written in 89. But it's like, oh yeah, Living Years. I remember that when my grandfather died. These guys impacted several generations. No pun intended for the Living Years. So you bring in Phil, who went global by accident. He didn't even want to put that album out, Foxy. In the Air Tonight, it was demos. He was incapable of writing letters to his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife. He wrote demos for her and sent those to her.
That's so romantic.
Oh no! Yes, but it was yes, I understand. Yes, you are correct. Yes, I agree. But that was way over at that point.
That's like literally making a mixtape for your boyfriend girlfriend.
But he did it with the big huge drum machine at home with this reel thing, and then there's like, we should make this album. We should make this an album, and that's the thing. The original demos are used on the album, and they just wrote around them. Like it was completely a fluke.
Yeah.
And then the dude worked nonstop for 20 years, and now he's half crippled, and he's still selling out arenas. So what do you know?
Exactly.
My final point on Phil and the impact you just mentioned, and then we'll move on to Ahmet Ertegun. He was the CEO, the guru, the president of Atlantic Records for years. Any group that was signed, it was because Ahmet was like, yes. For years, for the rest of his career, from his words, from his own mouth, bands would come in and go, this is our single. And he'd listen to the single, because all Final Decision went through him for years. And if it was a single he didn't like, or didn't think it was going to be a song, I'd say to this day, but till the end, he's dead now. He has since passed on. But to the end of his career, if it was a song he was not quite sure about, he'd go, yeah, that's great, but you got to do it like this. And he'd play In the Air Tonight for everybody. So, yeah, my working in grocery stores and service industry for years, I'm never jealous that I don't hear my band on the radio, because I hear them all the goddamn time. So that's never a problem. They've been kind of forgotten in the mainstream, but I can't argue with the reason why I spent so much on tickets I didn't want in the first place to sit that close was because they sold out in 10 minutes. So that's what I was.
Not mainstream fun till this point, yeah, but still making such an impact when you think about it, even on social media, because very recently there was, the reaction videos of the younger generations listening to In the Air Tonight.
That's right.
And they were just like, what? And it's like, again, that's the power of music too. But songs like that and just songs that Genesis has done still are relevant, and they hit people.
every 10 years or so, something will happen like that that'll put In the Air Tonight right in the back of the top 10 in a country somewhere. Like there was, and about 2005-06, there was a Cadbury ad that was just In the Air Tonight playing with a close-up of a gorilla sitting there listening to, and as it zoomed out, it got closer to the part of the song, and it was just the gorilla drumming on the drum set to the I can feel it. And then it just said Cadbury. There's nothing to it. That was it. Woo. And I think the song went to the top number 1 in Australia for the first time in 30 years. And those 2 kids that listened to that song and react to it, it went into the top 10 in the UK and the US again. Song was released in 1981. Okay. Oh yeah, Phil Collins. Yeah, that's my boy. I'm glad. And like I said, Pete's my boy too, but I want to give you a suggestion. This is the only suggestion I'm going to give you at the end of this. I will send you a link to it. This is this is what I would like. I don't know how to present this. Peter Gabriel. Kelly and I were talking about this the other day. His last album he did in 2002, his last full album, was called Up. And both her and I agree that though commercially in 2002, nobody was buying prog rock art anymore. And it's not prog rock. It's very electric. I really think you'd like this album. There's no song under 5 minutes. It doesn't matter, except for the last one. But I feel that man literally put his best album out in 2002 and said, I don't need to do anything else. I'm done. And he hasn't put out he's put out 3 new songs since. And it took him 10 years to do this album. But if you could listen to Up, I promise you halfway through that album, you're going to go, oh, all right. Or go, no, I'm cool. It's going to be, there's not going to be a half and half. It's going to be, okay, Pete, I get this, Pete. Or, feels better. And I don't want you to not say feels better. I just, whenever somebody brings up Pete, I don't think Pete was that good. I'm like, listen to his last album.
He is. He definitely is. Because I like his solo stuff. Obviously on, the ones that were more the hits. I haven't deep delved into anything that wasn't a hit.
It's always about his penis or water. It really was. Or both. Steam.
Yeah, there's steam.
Pete's got some problems. Considering he was dating Rosanna Arquette, I don't understand what the problem was. That's another story for another time.
Yeah.
He was married. Yeah. So in this moment,
yes,
what I cannot for the life of me understand is why the fuck they're not global more global.
I don't know either.
I keep going back to that first playlist mostly because it has Genesis songs in it, to be honest. But there's not one song from In This Moment that I've listened to where I've gone, what is happening? Oh, I just got cheers from Momo. I haven't heard that sound in so long. I didn't know what was happening. Momo just cheered 100 biddies. Thank you, Momo. I haven't seen the podcasts don't get a lot of interaction as far as on-screen stuff. It's people in the chat, which Badass, I just read your tweets. I'll read those in a second. So I wasn't used to hearing that sound. All of a sudden, in the surround sound, I was like, what's happening? Momo just donated 100 bits. Thank you so much. Momo says, Yeet, what's up, bro? Just talking music. And I'm bringing, since I talked about Genesis for 20 minutes, I'm about to bring it around to Foxy's favorite band here. And I will say, Badass said, hello, terrible person. That's in reference to a tweet I wrote a couple days ago. They're both good. I have a playlist of just them. That is correct, Badass. I don't have any biddies to give, but I do have 2 Never mind. Thank you, Badass.
Titties?
2 titties.
2 titties.
And Momo says, I also have 2. I love my chat rooms. It's everybody brings it all the time. So in this moment, thank you, ladies. Thank you, Banash and Momo. I appreciate the bits very much. Thank you so much. Unless you were offering those as a donation, no, thank you. Maybe. kidding. So what I don't understand is, so we just talked about Genesis and their appeal and how every song, in my opinion, it's like, this sounds fresh, this sounds good, it's permeating generations. How the fuck is in this moment just not mentioned that much? Because every time I hear one of their songs, I'm like, this is really fucking good. What's the problem?
I know.
Why are you and I only talking about this band?
They're very, that's the thing. They have this like cult-like following in a sense, and yet it's still so very underground. You know, their track with Rob Halford has been so far the most commercially successful song, but otherwise they are hardly, if ever, played. I mean, I know down by me, I only have one rock station, unfortunately. So, like,
you and everybody else in this
I know,
in this
right?
country, rock stations are dying very fast.
I know, but like, you know, music aside, like, you know, they have hit platinum. They do sell out their concerts. They've opened for amazing bands. They've performed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They've performed at the not Kerrang, is that other one. There's another Golden Gods or some shit like that. But like, they are out there. They are touring machines. They have been since way back in the day when they were just a MySpace band. They are touring machines. They're always on tour. They're always pushing out albums or something. They have an announcement coming up on this coming Monday soon. I wonder what that is. Shit.
Gee, I wonder what that is.
They're doing a track right now for the DC comic series, Death Metal, Dark Metal, some shit like that.
Oh, the one where Ghost was on the cover.
Yes, like that's not only is that an entire series on its own, because it goes Dark Knight's Metal, Dark Knight's Death Metal, Dark Knight's Dark Metal. So there's all those comic book covers, but there are now soundtracks that are being created for them, and they're a part of that soundtrack. They did a song for another DC thing. Can't remember what it was, but another song was called The Calling. Like, they put themselves out there so much. I just don't know. My neighbors are playing Mambo number 5.
Sure, 2002. Hello.
Wow.
I just, it's weird that you said the Rob Halford thing, because of course I love that track, because it's a white wedding rewrite. That was hard to say. Okay,
it was right.
But as much as I like that, I'm kind of like, I wish they were. It's like, to go back to Genesis, I hate that people are, Invisible Touch. I'm like, yeah, and others. Yeah, I know. Like Phil with Susudia, yeah, and other things. White Redding rewrite, yes, exactly. GM Spectre. Oh, everybody's coming into the room. Hello, GM Spectre. Shauna is here. My cousin. Words Are Hard. Yeah. Dark Knight's Batman released some good albums. Oh, stop it, Bad Ash. No, actually, don't stop. Keep the chats coming. Keeps the interaction going. So yeah, it was frustrating to hear this, because there's not one song where I was listening to and I'm like, it's all right. I'm not a screamer.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm kidding. I'm not. I'm not a screamer. As far as music, like, I compared them to, please forgive the comparison if this offends you, Mastodon.
No. Okay.
I just realized I made another Genesis reference. Forgive me. Mastodon, I can't stand early Mastodon. And I don't mean that in a fuck early Mastodon. I'm not into the scream stuff. Their last 3 albums are right up my alley. It's prog metal. It helps that the drummer, Brand Taylor, is a huge Genesis fan. That was the Genesis reference. I didn't mean to do that. The first time I ever heard of Mastodon was actually, they're at the beginning. You know the Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yes.
Did you ever see the movie?
Yes.
Cut you with a linoleum knife? That's Mastodon.
Not surprised.
Yes. Yes. Right, exactly. So I heard them through there, and then just built on that, and I tried going backwards. I was like, yeah. But going forwards, I'm like, I'm totally in for this. Same thing within in this moment. I everything they've done recently, I follow them on Spotify now. Sign me up for it. The earlier stuff I don't like. But back to that thing, they're as Momo referenced earlier, it was like Green Day before they hit.
Yes.
Everybody knew, but everybody didn't know. And then Green Day hit that, and then everybody knew. And I really feel, just on my novice experience within this moment. They're right there. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
right there.
Mhm.
And with a singer like that, I don't know why they're not at number one. I'm just saying.
See, it's so, as a fan, as a lifelong fan, because I listened to them when they were literally just a MySpace band until they got signed.
I love the MySpace thing. It's
know,
amazing.
right?
That doesn't. You don't hear stories like that
I
anymore.
know. It's like I love them, and I want them to get the success that they fucking deserve. You know, after watching them grow and seeing them live and opening for all these other bands. But in the same right, I don't, because like, okay,
You want to keep them.
no, it's more so. I'm going to use my Ghost analogy for this one. When I got into Ghost, okay,
fair enough. I know where you're going with this already.
when I got into Ghost, they weren't touring at the moment, but I'm like, all right, they're easily accessible. You know, they do Webster Hall and shit. Cool. And then it hit big. And the next thing I know, they're playing Barclays and stadiums, and I can't afford that. Whereas right now, within this moment, I can always go to their show because, you know, the ticket prices are low. And I know for a fact that when I go to their show, I'm going to elbow myself to the front row because I always do. Because, you know, I'm petite. So at some points I can be like, excuse me, I can't see. And then
You're
other times.
petite, but you're a former wrestler with sharp elbows.
Exactly. You know, and I managed to get always front row so that I can scream and cry with Maria. So it's like, I don't want to take away the experience and the intimacy of like the small venues that they do. Because even though they work small venues, they work that stage. The crowd is amazing. And then like, I want them successful, but I don't want to be stuck in a nosebleed seat where I can't see them.
We will get to a Ghost show one way or the other.
Just got into them, and oh my god, they're my favorite band, but you've only heard one song, and I'm gonna stop.
We will get to a Ghost show.
I know we will.
All right.
We will.
So yeah, I think I'm looking for it. Well, now I have to follow. I can't. You have to. I have to remember how to follow them on social media to see what this. Because it'd be perfect timing for them to drop a new album for me to go, okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm. It would be.
But yes, for those who are listening, if you haven't heard of In This Moment, do. And if you haven't heard of Genesis, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I know. However, our little Ghost tiny tidbit rant is a great segue because in episode 2, we discussed
professional here,
right? In episode 2, we discussed our mutual faves, picking only 3 because we have a lot. So we chose CKY, Lady Gaga, and Ghost. That was a playlist.
That's a prog rock playlist.
Dude, I had to unshuffle, and it was like some of these actually mix really well.
Oh, I hit shuffle. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's lists like this. When you do lists like this, it brings to light that genre is bullshit thing that we talked about in the New Wave episode, which is episode 5, which will be my favorite question because that's the latest one. It'll be, but music is like from classical to I listen to almost everything. Mm-hmm. I was raised at the same time. I was raised with my dad on classic rock. Well, what is now classic rock? Genesis, yes, Cream, Hendrix, Floyd, you know, the perennials. On the other side, my mom and my grandma, divorced family, was taking me into Philly to see Les Mis and Phantom of the Opera and listening to Cats. And actually, I love pointing this out because she was such a racist, terrible person. My grandmother raised me on Motown, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and those bands at the same time she was.
Yeah.
I just recalled the other day. I don't know. Shauna's in the room. I don't know if she'll remember this, but we were coming back from a bowling alley once. Shauna was. And I love, exactly, Shauna. Grandmom used to take me and Shauna separately to the Philadelphia Orchestra into Philly at the old building. I've never been to the new building, and I love my grandmother, but she was a racist old white lady. And I don't know if Shauna will remember this. We were leaving the bowling alley in Cherry Hill once, and she dropped that word. And I was 18 or 17, 18, or maybe I was in that I'm 16, I'm a band, and I have big balls kind of phase. And the first time I ever really talked back to my grandmother, and I said to her, don't you ever fucking say that word in front of your granddaughter ever again. Nobody said anything. Mom, my stepmother, my grandmother kept quiet. Shauna just looked straight ahead in the car. And it was never, and I never heard her say it around me again. So I was not going to tolerate that. Because even at that age, I found it crazy. That word, schnoodle hooks. Yeah, that's the word. Schnoodle hooks. Where do you come up with this, man? Schnoodle hooks. So this hodgepodge of music in my head, just so you don't think I went off track. I know where I'm going. This hodgepodge of music in my head all of my life being brought up. So when you get to a list like this, you realize all these arguments over what is like to bring Ghost back in. It's not really heavy metal. Go fuck yourself. Who cares? If you don't like it, that's fine. But the genre doesn't matter anymore. The genres don't goddamn matter with the internet. Genres are broken with the internet because anybody anywhere can listen to anything, to where before, for example, the Beatles were importing music from the States on the ships in Liverpool and the dock, listening to Motown and all the black American music because that's what they had access to. They couldn't just walk to the record store and buy whatever record they wanted after post-war England. The internet broke the genres. I don't even know why this discussion anymore. That's why the Smashing Pumpkins, who are on this list, did that reunion record, which is completely metal, and then the follow-up album is completely electronic. There's no genre anymore. And this list, you hear the Smashing Pumpkins do The Everlasting Gaze, and then you hear Gaga do Born This Way. Genres don't matter anymore. We got lost in Camden once and made me get on the floor of the back seat. Jesus Christ. I didn't know that story, Shauna. Yeah. All right. When I tried to organize my MP3s and my flash drives into folders and found too much overlapped. Exactly. But
then you get into the whole subgenre thing. Because when I had iTunes and a little iPod Mini, I would do the same. I was very, very anal retentive about it being in their certain genres, because sometimes I want to listen to a specific genre. But there were times where it was like, okay, this is alternative. Okay, this is goth. But wait, no, this is not pop. It's electronic. So I had like electronica, electronic pop, Euro pop dance, like it was the hardest thing. And then especially when it came to the rap, it was like, okay, so 90s rap kind of had a lot of the chorus hooks that were very R&B, you know? So what do I label this as? Do I label it as rap or hip hop? And they're not the same, but they are the same. So what do I do? It was a very confusing time in my life.
I remember when I got my first iPod. I'm old enough to where my first iPod wasn't an iPod. It was a Dell jukebox. And Genesis albums. Some of them are prog rock, and pop. I was like, no, it's all prog rock. Just label it prog rock. But you know what else I put in the prog rock genre? The Smashing Pumpkins. The Killers are in the prog rock genre because rock and roll is dead in the fact that rock and roll is not rock and roll anymore. It's whatever the fuck you want it to be. Country is not country anymore. It's pop. It doesn't matter. And this list is the perfect. Dan has had to listen to my taste for weird music for a long time. Yeah, but again,
that was me. I was the one that was making everyone listen to the weird music, because like you, I grew up with all these different sounds. My dad was very, very into 50s doo-wop and all of that, so I know all of those. And then, you know, of course, more of the Zeppelin and the AC/DC from him. You know, my mom, she was very much with the pop times. She went from the disco to the 80s pop to the 90s pop. You know, growing up in the house that I did too, there was also a lot of merengue being played. And then from my grandmother, I had polkas going because she used to be a polka.
See?
So awesome. Like, you know, and then you get into society, and then you have, you know, well, these friends are listening to Mariah, and these friends are listening to freestyle, and these friends are listening to grunge. So it's like
my cousin in the chat. I'm not going to get into it on a recorded podcast. We've talked about it many times in the chat. My mother practically raised her. We'll leave it at that. So we were raised very close. In fact, I'm not going to say what I was going to say on this podcast. She's my sister. So technically I have 3.
Mm-hmm.
She's wedged in there between that other one I don't like. My point is, I am the reason she listens to the Pumpkins and Genesis. 2 different bands. She listens to them. So my question is, this is probably going to be a real quick yes or no. Was there anything in this list that you hadn't heard before or have a new appreciation of? Because I will be honest.
Yeah.
I was completely familiar with everything on this list, so I got nothing new out of this, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
Yeah, of course.
This was neutral to me. I was just enjoying it.
No, you know what? I knew everything on the list, but like I even texted you about it. It reminded me so much of why I love Smashing Pumpkins so much in the 90s. Because over the course of time, like I would listen to them less and less and only favorite the ones that were my absolute favorite songs to listen to. Yeah. I knew they existed, but like I wouldn't go out of my way to play like Lily or like Stumbling and all of that. All these songs I knew. I have them on tape, from my friends. Yeah. But like, I would never go out of my way to just actively say, I'm going to listen to all the Pumpkin songs today. So like, it reminded me of the very small, minuscule good part of like my high school time.
Yeah.
So, and it was that's the one playlist I listen to the most because of all the Pumpkin songs. And I put so many hearts next to the songs and having my own like Pumpkins play. My Pumpkins like little playlist went from about maybe 4 or 5 songs I would play over and over to I can't even tell you
good
how many.
Good. No, I'm glad. And I just realized foolishly I didn't put my oh no, it's in there. Never mind. Seeking You Shall Destroy. Never mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
If you haven't heard Seer, their last one, what's up, Mark? How you doing, dude? We're talking about music. I know you're a big music fan, so we're talking about the playlist that we've put together so far, which can be found. I cannot put sentences together tonight. Worse than usual. Can be found on our Spotify. Thank you for watching from YouTube. How you doing, dude? Mark is a co-host of Stadium Journey podcast.
Hello, Mark.
Ballpark Hunter on Twitter and all social media platforms. The last album they did, I just want to say, is Shiny. It's called Seer because Shiny and Oh So Bright Volume 1 was before that. Seer, SYR, is completely the best way I would describe it is Adore Part 2.
Oh.
Because, they went fucking Billy. Gish comes out. It's like not the second coming of Nirvana, but it was like, oh, and Nirvana and these go. Who the hell are these? And Pearl Jam. Gish comes out, complete grunge record. Siamese Dream comes out, makes grunge pop.
Post grunge, as they called it.
Yes, post grunge.
Post grunge.
And then this motherfucker. And I mean that in a jokingly but respectful way, Mr. Corgan, owner of the NWA. This motherfucker does Melancholy in the Infinite Sadness.
Yep.
Remember what I said about prog rock?
Mm-hmm. I know. That was such a fucking throw, though. Like, because, again, you had the first 2 albums, you're like, all right, I get it. And then Melancholy comes out, and, you had to have it. You just had to. It was like, oh, my God, it's a double disc. We need to have this. It's, like, huge.
Oh, well, yeah,
But, and then the one that threw me for the loop was Tonight. I was like,
it's on the same album?
What is this? And it's great. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Ballpark, Mark, I'm calling him by his screen name. Like, I don't know who the hell he is. Mark says he was down with Machina. So let me get to that real quick. So after Melancholy, and you have to remember, like in the 60s and 70s and 80s, double albums were considered cheap and throwaways because they were like, well, this is either a greatest hits or a live album. Nobody really cares. And then you forget The Who, Tommy, Genesis, Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, Pink Floyd, The Wall, all these double albums. Melancholy, how do you, after 2 albums, go, I'm going to put out a double album?
That's balls.
And it was huge and arguably their best work. Then he turns around. Now, part of it was necessity because, in my opinion, as much as that band is Billy Corgan, Jimmy Chamberlain is the greatest drummer that nobody talks about. And a lot of that, he had a drug problem. If you don't remember, on that tour, Jimmy Chamberlain OD'd with their piano player, Jonathan Melvoin, and Jonathan Melvoin died, and Jimmy was fired and made to go to rehab. If, for those who don't know who Jonathan Melvoin is, you actually have seen him in a Pumpkins video. He's in the Zero music video playing the piano during the guitar solo. That was their touring guitarist, pianist. And he died with Jimmy in that room. So that sound's gone. So by necessity and by, well, what's the next step? I'm going electric. And he does a techno electronic pop album that I've said it before and I'll say it again. As much as I've talked about those other albums, that's my favorite album. And it shouldn't be. By all rights and privileges, it shouldn't be. I love that album. I discovered it when I was teen, like a couple years after it came out. It was just angsty enough for me. I was like, this is it, man. He knows. And then, like Mark just said, Machina comes out. The band reunited on record. Darcy never made it past record. It was a Melissa Aftermar on tour. It's an upgrade, but that's just me. In every way. Musically, by the way, to be clear. And that way too, if you want to be technical about it. And again, Jimmy was back. The band was back again. Then the band breaks up. Thankfully, probably. Zeitgeist comes out. Sounds like a Pumpkins record, but something's missing. But Jimmy's there, so it still sounds kind of like a Pumpkins record. Then Jimmy leaves again. They get this kid to come over, and Billy's still pumping out records. And there's good stuff in there. Not my favorite, but there's a lot of good stuff that has gone on to the playlist. That hold right up there. Geek, not Geek USA. Oh man, I forgot the name. I'll look up the name of the song later. That holds right up with anything for Siamese Dream. It's really good. Then Jimmy and James comes back. And as soon as that album starts, you're like, there it is. That's the sound that has been missing. And you can say what you want about him being as popular as he used to be. Pumpkins were all over stations such as Y100, Z100, WDRE. Yes. Yep. WDRE, exactly. By the time Machina came out, it was relegated all the alt rock stations only, and then came on.
That's true, though. That is so true. When Pumpkins came out over here in Jersey, like, you had your alt station, you had your pop station, you had your club station. They were practically on every station. They even managed to get on the club station because in the late 90s, it was in the in thing, like club remixes of, rock songs to be made. Because there was like a club version of Don't Speak by No Doubt. It's like,
there's a club version of In the Air Tonight.
I know. I've heard it.
It's garbage. But it was a hit on the dance stations because it was the song it was. Honorable mention from GM Spectre, and then I have a DRE sidebar.
I have a sidebar in general.
All right, good. Your sidebar first, then my DRE stuff while Mark's on here. Side note about the Pumpkins era: the end of the beginning is the end. GM Spectre mentioned that specifically on the last episode. That was the bridging. That was the bridge between Melancholy and Adore. In between all that crap came the only good thing from the movie Batman and Robin, and it's that single. What's your sidebar?
My sidebar it's actually Melissa Aftermar, because it was a funny thing.
God, I love her.
From an interview that I actually remember, because I was like huge with watching MTV and 120 Minutes and all the interviews. And for some reason, all of them are ingrained in my brain, but I can't remember what I did about 3 hours ago. So when Adore had come out, it was very different. I saw it more as like, an evolution to the band. Just so happens when that album came out, so did Hole's technically second album came out, which was Celebrity Skin, which was definitely them growing up. And I remember Melissa Aftermar in an interview saying that she was excited for Celebrity Skin because up until that point, on a technicality, she was playing covers with Hole. She was never the original bassist. The original bassist died after Doll Parts was recorded.
Oh.
And they had to get Melissa Aftermar in. So up until Celebrity Skin, everything Melissa played was not really her music. It was the old bassist.
She's
And
basically
then,
playing what was already written, and then that
yes.
album, she was playing her own stuff.
Yes. And the bridge between those two albums was their cover of Goldust Woman for the Crow City of Angels soundtrack, which again, another cover. Great track. Great cover.
Forgot about that song.
Yeah. So Celebrity Skin comes out. She gets to finally do her own music with Hole, which didn't last very long because, you know,
Courtney's nuts.
Courtney got all Courtney, and Melissa Aufdemar left, and everyone's like, oh, where's she going to go? And then poof, she's with the Pumpkins. It was like, whoa.
I have a question. Which one is Celebrity Skin, the one that Billy wrote? Yes, it is.
I think it is. I love that song. I love that whole album.
I think it's that song, and then the album, that whole album before that. Is it? Wait, hold on.
Because there's Celebrity Skin, Doll Parts, Asking for It was like an LP.
Which?
Oh, have you ever heard the rumor that Disarm was actually written about Courtney?
It was about his father, though.
Well, the big 90s rumor was, you know, Courtney was a doorknob to a lot of the bands, and that Courtney Love was like big. All the 90s rumors was that she was the doorknob. You know, there was Cobain, you know, Gavin Rossdale, Billy Corrigan.
I just want to point out the lady said that, not the white guy.
Yes. Supposedly, the big rumor back then, other than her killing her own husband, was that Billy wrote Disarm.
She's not that smart.
So
no, Disarm is about his mother. XYU is about Courtney.
Oh.
You're welcome.
Nice.
Blew your brain on that one, didn't I?
Mm-hmm. See, that was a nice little interesting sidebar.
Yeah. Here's my DRE sidebar. The radio show I reference often on WMMR. By the way, I'm going to plug WMMR. If your rock stations are dying, listen to WMMR on their app. It's free. I know it's a Philadelphia rock station, but those are my boys and girls. My boys and girls. But the radio show I mention very often, the Preston and Steve show, actually, do you remember when WDRE was simulcast in Philadelphia and New York?
Yes.
In the mid-90s? Preston Elliott, the Preston of Preston and Steve, started as a DJ in Philadelphia, moving from St. Louis on WDRE. Steve was working in WDRE New York. And Steve would do the comedy bits. He was a former stand-up comedian who became a full-time DJ and writer on the station. Was doing any commercial that was a goofy commercial you heard on DRE, Steve Morrison wrote it. It was all Steve. So anything that you remember that was like, Steve Morrison.
No shit.
Steve and Preston did a satellite hookup segment on WDRE somewhere towards the end. WDRE was one of the few radio stations that got an end date. Usually radio stations are like, we're chugging along, we're off air, it's over. Mm-hmm. And you never hear from them again. Like Y100 got that. Mm-hmm. Y100 was told that night, okay, we're done, see ya. And it turned into Power 99 FM at midnight.
That happened here.
Power 99? No, not Power 99, but it happened all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
I just turned my mic off. I hope that's back on.
It is. I can hear you.
Okay, good. So, and I'll read that in a second, Mark, and GM Spectre, I'll read that in a second. Give me a second real quick. At the end of that segment, Steve says to Preston, this is the end soon. We might not, it was nice working with you and hope to see you again. And Steve says to him, don't worry, Preston, I have this feeling that we'll be working again in the future very soon. And then they talked about dwarf porn for another 20 minutes. So, cut to 25 years later, they are the juggernaut in Philadelphia, and they were one of the first shows that podcasted their entire show content when podcasts were new.
Nice.
I just thought Mark mentioned DRE. That was a cool little mention. First, GM Spectre. Melissa Aufdemar did a song called Father's Grave with Glenn Danzig, of all people. Oh, good. It must have been a happy recording session. Never thought about Aufdemar's contributions to Hole that way before. Yeah, I didn't until Foxy mentioned it. Mark. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it was I still have it on VHS because I actually watched it a few months ago. It was via a 120 minutes interview with Matt Pinfield at one of the when they used to do those like those jingle ball type things from for Z100.
Yeah.
It was like backstage.
Oh, the jingle balls. Yeah.
Yeah, because Hole kind of like crushed the party, and they like she had blatantly said it. It was also it was a side part of an interview where they'd said that they paid for Stevie Nicks' Pool with the Goldust Woman cover. I am full of useless music information.
That's probably true. Mark says all these albums take me back to the good old days of college, back with MTV played videos.
Yeah.
All the time. I love Matt Pinfield. Yeah, he's no longer with us, is he?
No, I think he's.
Am I mixing him up with somebody else? Somebody else? Yeah. I apologize to Matt Pinfield if I'm incorrect. Mr. Mark Viquez is from North Jersey. He's from your neck of the woods.
He's still alive.
Okay, who am I confusing him with? I'll look it up later. There's another DJ that I'm confusing him, the VJ that I'm confusing him with.
Jesse Camp passed away.
Not Jesse. No, Jesse Camp passed away?
Yeah, Jesse Camp passed away. But as far as the VJs, they're also
talk about that later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. I know he wrote a book, but I haven't heard. No, Jesse. Yeah, CGF Spectre just said the same thing. Jesse died?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that up. I know he wrote a book. Maybe he wrote a book, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, he died. Sorry, Matt. I knew about the book. I apologize, Mr. Pinfield. That's going to get deleted. Is there anything else from this list you want to, or you want to move on?
I just got to make note that the entire Ghost section had my 5-year-old dancing and singing.
Oh, you're dancing? He's drawing pictures. He's standing in front of the TV staring.
Mm-hmm. No, my little Cole, my 5-year-old, is a huge Ghost fan.
He's a ghoul now.
Yes, he knows all of the lyrics to, in particular,
Hail Satan.
Kiss the Goat, which is the most hilarious thing to have a 5-year-old saying.
See, you know what's funny about that? I can totally understand why a kid would be attracted to the song Kiss the Goat without getting the connotation to the lyrics.
Yeah, exactly. So he does that. Cerise, oh my God, he puts on a performance with Cerise.
Does it help that the kids are in the music video?
Yes.
I bet that's what does it.
Yes. Square Hammer he knows, and Dance Macabre, and he just started singing along to Rats. And doing the
kid's gonna be
yeah, he does that too.
That kid's gonna be goth,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and better, not a better family for that to not happen to.
Well, I always said he was going to be the music baby. I always had a feeling he was going to be the music baby, and the fact that he can pick up song lyrics and beats in a second, because he does that with a lot of the songs I play that I don't think he's listening to, and next thing you know, he's walking into the room singing along to like an Aesthetic Perfection song that I just started playing.
Isn't there a Phil Collins song one of them were dancing or singing along to?
Yes, I can't remember.
It doesn't matter. All you had to do was say yes, and I'm happy.
I brought in his musical horizons a lot. Let's put it that
way. And just to make it worse, Badass just had to add on. But what about Jesse's Girl? Wah wah wah. Okay, covers.
Okay, covers. Episode 3, we talked about cover songs. The good ones, the bad ones, the ones we didn't know were covers, the ones that are better than the original, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, wait, can I blow your mind? Can I blow your mind first? Had no idea Whiskey in Jar was the fucking cover.
Really?
I looked at Kelly and said, well, I'm an idiot. First of all, it's a traditional Irish song, folk song. Had no idea it was a cover and had no idea it was what it was. And I'm just listening. She goes, oh, yeah, but this. I was like, what? Oh. And on top of the fact that when you said Whiskey in a Jar, I had no idea what song you were talking about. So it was like 3 things coming into one going, oh, that one. I know that. Wait, that's a cover? I'm an idiot.
That was my same reaction. Like I said, I'm a Jersey girl, so I'm going to get crucified. That was my same reaction when I heard Metallica's Die Die Darling. I didn't know it was a cover.
See, that one I got.
And I'm supposed to be like big Misfits fan because Jersey represent.
Misfits are an acquired taste, though.
I like Metallica's version better anyway. It hits harder. But okay, so I gotta say, you're gonna like this one.
Okay,
you're gonna like it. I've heard a lot of covers of Tomorrow Never Knows. I have.
Yeah.
I really, really like Phil's version. I really liked it. And I've heard a lot. I thought I had a favorite.
What was your favorite before that? Because I'd like to hear it.
I forgot the name of the band who sings it, but it was featured on the Craft soundtrack.
I'll look it up.
Because it was the opener to the movie.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
By the way, is that movie worth it in 4K? Because that's in 4K on my
what,
digital.
The original?
Yeah. I'm like, do I 4K? All right.
I'm biased, so I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah.
I think I need to see that movie in 4K for more than one reason, but
Bruce Bulk.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Oh my god. She can choke me. Our Lady Peace did it.
Thank you. That makes a lot of sense.
I'll have to hear that. I have the touches in that movie?
Yeah.
You know whose song that is?
I do, and I can't.
Foxy.
I do.
Foxy.
Yeah.
No, it's not, but it's not. It is, but
Peter.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
That's a Peter Gabriel cover.
Because I always knew it was a cover, and I knew the song, but never enough to really know it.
Which is funny because that's one of those songs. Pete has this unfortunate thing where he'll release a song. In Your Eyes has 3 different releases because he hated the first mix of it. So he redid it, and then he redid it himself. The final single version is like 11 minutes. I Have the Touch has 4 single versions.
Oh,
and they all have something different to them. They're all different. Like the basic song's the same. Verse, chorus, verse. But there's something added, something taken away. Musical instruments added. The dude is nuts like me. And that's why I love him so much. But I have to hear that I Have the Touch. I am very happy you said that about Tomorrow Never Knows. Mark says Superstar by Sonic Youth. Good.
That is a good one.
Good. Chance Spector, Fruza Balk cutting an awesome promo on that college kid. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fruza Balk standing there. Is your guest... actually, she's the host. I'm just here. I'm apprenticing. Foxy is from New Jersey. Would you like to tell Mr. Viquez where you're from?
I am from northern New Jersey, Passaic County to be exact. I am a town just over. Actually, my backyard is quite literally Clifton. My GPS will tell me my backyard is Clifton. No, I am in Passaic.
You are in Clifton. No, I'm not, asshole. Okay, so the Tomorrow Never Knows thing. Did you do what I asked you, or did you remember what I asked you to do? You sound like your father there. You can smack me. With at the end as it faded, did you turn it up?
I couldn't.
Ah, shit. I'll do an enhanced version and send it to you.
Yeah. No, I had it on my stereo that day while I was cleaning, so I couldn't exactly do that.
Here's the ironic thing. So that's off Face Value, which is off the same album, In the Air Tonight song. And Tomorrow Never Knows, of course, is a Beatles cover. And he did that cover because he's a huge Beatles fan. He's actually in the movie A Hard Day's Night as an extra at the concert. Way at the back. You can actually see him. In the making of that came out in the mid-90s, the director actually found it and gave him a reel of him. A nice picture of him standing there. The ironic thing about that is the only thing that kept Face Value in the air tonight out of the #1 UK spot was John Lennon's single Woman, because he had died and they were selling it.
That makes you popular.
But yes, I love the Beatles to death. And I respect their version. Time for dinner. Must go. Talk to you soon. Mark, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming in and visiting, sir.
Thank you, Mark.
Jersey represent.
Hey, I got my Springsteen shirt on too.
Yes, exactly. There you go. We're all Jerseyed up. I'm talking like Jersey. You're talking and looking like Jersey. He moved to the Midwest. Sounds like he moved from Jersey yesterday. He'll be talking like me, and sometimes the Philly, South Jersey thing comes out. Sometimes he'll end his sentences. You'll hear it talking like that, and you're like, That's my preferred version of that song. Sorry.
Yeah, it's great. It blew me away when I first heard it because I'm like I said, I've heard a couple covers of it already, so it was like it's just another cover song. But I heard it, I'm like, okay,
I
this
liked.
is good.
Is it Casey or Kazy? Kazy.
I think it's Casey.
Okay, well, There Needs You Tonight's fantastic,
Right.
and Blue Monday. See, there wasn't a lot on here I didn't like. I didn't know either.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta know. Oh, dang! In the Air Tonight is 40 years old. Yeah, this year. Great.
Oh God, no, it's not. Nope.
Yeah, it is.
Nope.
Okay, it's not.
Nope.
Did you listen to the Back in New York City song by Jeff Buckley?
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing. I had listened.
What
to
did you think of that song?
I thought it was alright.
I understand. That's that part of Genesis. You're like, it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, okay. So let's answer.
Like, I don't hate it.
Let's ask it like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's a companion list we did.
Yes,
which was the originals.
Mm-hmm.
What? So instead of talking about songs we know the answers to because we know the songs, what on the covers list did you like more than the cover? Is what I'm trying to say. Is there any originals you were like, oh shit?
I'm pulling it all up right now.
That's okay.
On the originals, let's see.
Because I'll give you Shadow Play by the Killers. Careless Whisper by George Michael. I'm sorry. Running Up That Hill and Cinnamon Girl are the originals I like. Need You Tonight, just a notch better than the cover.
Yeah, it has its own vibe to it. Definitely.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, obviously, you know, the Rebel Yell is better than the original. I'm not gonna lie. It's just the dope version is like, all right, this is cool. I like it. I would say I put those maybe equally as well.
I'll give you that, sure. I agree. The Ghost song I put on there, which is the Philly came out right there. The Ghost song I put on there. Bible.
Yeah, Bible. Never knew.
I didn't either. Never knew until I looked it up.
I mean, obviously, I prefer that version because I liked it before I knew it was a cover. So of course,
I prefer that version too. It was one of those covers where I went back to listen. Oh, let me hear it. There's two Ghost songs that they do covers that, in my opinion, they made their own song. And one of them is in Period, the Bible, the song Bible, which their version is far superior. No offense to Period, it's just not my. And with all due respect to the late Roky Erickson, I think his original version of If You Have Ghosts sucks. I don't like that song. Ghosts made a completely different song altogether and made that song better. It's like Roky didn't finish it, Ghosts finished it.
See, but that's the whole. I feel that's the point of a cover, to make it your own, so they know that it's yours, and to make people question, okay, who did it first? Because a lot of people cover songs just to fucking cover them, and you could tell, like, there's no passion. Disturbed. I was gonna go Britney Spears, but okay. There's no oomph behind it, you know. Like I said, you know, you hear Britney Spears is my prerogative, and it's like, cool, you just wrote that to write it because that's when you were gonna have your meltdown. Whatever, you know. Manson's Sweet Dreams had me questioning my whole life. It's like, is this really a Eurythmics song anymore? Like, no, Sweet Dreams is Manson's.
It's like Hurt by Nine Inch Nails, which was made.
Yeah. It was made for Johnny Cash.
It's a Johnny Cash song. And you know who also said that? The guy who wrote the song.
Yeah. I mean, Hurt by Nine Inch Nails, great song. Loved it when it came out. Johnny Cash's version came out, and it's his. He made it his.
Now, it's not on the same global level as this, but I think Tomorrow Never Knows is now Phil's song, and that's just...
I feel similarly.
Sorry, Beatles fans. Preaching to the
choir
on that one.
No, I feel similarly to that.
Sorry.
No, I was to say I'm also one of those people that don't get the Beatles. So I mean, not saying.
All right, thank you very much. Good night, folks.
No, not saying it disrespectfully.
Kidding.
Not saying it disrespectfully. No, just to anybody that'll probably hear that and go, "Wow."
Get over it too. I put them in the same category is people that say that the Beatles weren't that good. Shut up. It's the shut up category.
See, that's like, I do feel that they are good. They are very good. They're very good.
Just
They're
not
very
my thing.
influential. Yeah, it's just, I don't care.
Smooth Criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Alien Ant Farm took it.
Yes.
I'll say it. Sorry. I'm not sorry. I say they took it. Their follow-up single was fine. I don't think they qualify as a one-hit wonder. I think it's a two-hit wonder. Listen, I'm just biased because there's a Ghostbusters reference in it. What do you want from me? I'm doing that cover at karaoke tonight, Alien Ant Farm. Oh, good luck.
Nice.
Nice. All right, so wait, you're the host.
I'm not the host. We're a buddy cop film. We cannot do this without each other.
Am I the crazy one? I'm the one that goes crazy?
We might have to flip a coin for that per episode.
That's true, yeah. Well, with my hair the way it is, I'll do Riggs this week. I'm Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon.
Great. So I got to be the one that's too old for this shit? That's great.
Well, I didn't want to... Fine. You said it.
I am.
I mean, In the Air Tonight's 40 years old. I didn't say anything. You did.
I did. Don't let the pink hair fool you, people. I'm going to be 40. Wow.
I would have thought you were like, what?
Because I stopped aging at 19.
Yeah, well, I wish I did.
And the thing is, I never realized it until someone pointed it out. We're like, look, you literally have not aged facially since you were 19. I'm like, whoa.
What do you mean facially? What are you talking about? I'd be offended. Like, what about the rest of me?
Well, you know, childbirth and stuff.
The
rest of me is matured. Whereas everything from the neck up, including my brain, has not aged since I was 19.
Right. Who the hell was Kelly saying that about the other day? From the neck up. Oh, from the neck. Phil. She was saying that about Phil. From the neck down, he's fine. I was like, hey, it's this that throws us up. Because he has a bunch of hair until 74, and then it starts going poof.
Wow.
Thank God Lily doesn't have that problem. She's got his eyebrows, though. It's like, wow, Lily's so attractive. I'm like, I don't see it because I just see Phil, and no. Oh, no. Do we want to roast Bad Ash together?
Sure.
I'm just going to read this. Sorry, Bad Ash. I thought you were out of it with your band suggestion, but after that, you're not. Sound of Silence. I like the Stir version better. I'm going to leave and let you do it.
Oh.
I love you, Bad Ash, but go fuck yourself.
To be fair, I hate that song in its entirety.
What?
I do. I'll sing along to it. It's on my Spotify, but like, you know,
I don't know how we can go on this relationship any further.
I think musically, I do feel Disturbed did a great job of it, but musically is different than vocally.
Matches texted me and said, so do you want to do a show called Crazy Compilation? Oh, you want to do a new show? Crazy Compilation. Oh. Got it. Yeah, thank you, man.
That's witty.
You know what's funny? You know what? I'll back you up on that one, Foxy, because the version that they released as a single, and I'm talking about Simon and Garfunkel, and let's just get this out of the way. Paul Simon was the guy. Garfunkel just sang harmonies. Just want to get that out of the way. Garfunkel was nothing in that band. In that group. And it would be told by every time that Paul Simon got tired, he left. That single, all kidding aside, by the way, I'm kidding. Kind of. That single release is it's supposed to be just guitar. And then singing. It's supposed to be Paul Simon Garfunkel art.
Silence.
Folk. The producer, this is in the days where producers could do this before the artist was like, what the fuck are you doing? Went in and added the band and released that version, and I prefer that version. Paul Simon hates that version because the version is supposed to be just him and Art and the fucking guitar. And here's the other kicker: to get the band to play in time, they had to speed the track up. It's a botch job of all botch jobs, just like the cover of the song. Heyo. In my defense, bad experience that the original version was a part of. So, well, okay, I'll give you that one. That's like Led Zeppelin. I can't listen to Led Zeppelin because I still want to kick that dude in the face.
Okay. Are you bouncing to my neighbor's party?
Music, yes.
We've hit. I think we've hit the reggaeton.
Yeah,
section.
yeah. Well, it's okay to me. Terrible person you are. Yeah, I know I'm terrible. So that brings us to our David Bowie list.
Yes, episode 4 was our first in the Set of Icon series, which we talked about anything and everything David Bowie.
This will be a quick one because I don't know if we can elaborate on this any more than we did on that episode. And you can find it on the VOC Nation Radio Network, which is our old network, which I'll explain at the end of the episode. But all of our archives episodes are at VOC Nation Radio Network or on youtube.com/Dan93. Go ahead, take it away, boss.
I mean, let's be real here. We both love David Bowie. So there wasn't a single track on this playlist that I skipped. Love them all, listen to them all, and I still stand by the fact that the Labyrinth soundtrack is underrated because everyone sees it as a Jim Henson movie and he's the Goblin King and big groin. It's not. It
doesn't hurt. I mean, it might hurt.
Yeah. But again, the songs from the Labyrinth soundtrack should not be slept on, and they should be listened to in full without thinking of Muppets and shit.
It's fucking Bowie.
It is. It's Bowie. But
is there anything on there that you hadn't heard? Because I know I stuck that cover on there.
You're kidding, right?
Well, I stuck the cover on there. The Pink Floyd cover.
Did you?
See, Emily Play is not a Bowie song. That's him covering Pink Floyd. Well, you probably heard it because you've listened to his discography. I'm just saying, now that you know it's a cover, did that change?
There it is.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a cover.
It's a Pink Floyd song, yeah.
No shit.
Which I didn't put it in the covers episode on purpose because I knew the Bowie was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those songs, and I love Pink Floyd to death. Bowie's version is better.
It is. So I didn't know that it was a cover. It's
sacrilegious. Is it sacrilege or sacrilegious to say that?
Sacrilege. I go with sacrilegious.
Okay. To say that because, Syd Barrett's the greatest guy that nobody's ever heard of. And I love Syd Barrett. And that's a tragic story. That should be one of our icon episodes where I just talk about that for an hour. Anyway, there's very little we can elaborate on this list, but I will double down. And it's hard to say this because I'm looking through this playlist going, that's so fucking good. And then I say it, I'm like, yes, but then Black Star came out. I still think Where Are We Now is the perfect David Bowie song. It's like, it's My Mean Sarah Jane for Bowie, where somebody goes, well, how would you explain Genesis to me? I say, listen to this song.
Mm-hmm.
This is the band contained in a 5-minute segment. It's got all their signatures in it. It's in under 6 minutes for that band. That's good. And as I said, the reason why I love it so much is he's either a very tragic or very happy song.
Mm-hmm.
Where Are We Now is that song for Bowie. Not only do I think it's his best song, which is really saying something, maybe it's in retrospect because he's dead. Or maybe it's in retrospect because I'm older and, you lose love, you find love, people go away and never come back. And I don't know. I think it's just the perfect song.
See, I wish I could do what you just did. Like,
What do you mean?
Like, I can never just pick something to define said artist. I wish I could do that, especially with David Bowie.
To be fair, this is only within the last 5 years of my 30s. You know what I mean? It's just not something I've always done. I've just done this now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I haven't been able to do that. Because, I went through a phase with Genesis where when I was a kid, it was all about the nerdy, proggy shit because they were singing about shit I would read and see in the comic books and TV shows I watched. Then as I got older, you got into that poppy, mushy shit. that the boys, without the other 80 guys in the band, would sing about just the three of them, about love and loss, and Fading Lights is about the twilight of things, of all things, life. And I compare that song to, it's such a stupid quote from such a silly movie, Ultron, The Age of Ultron, when he says to Vision, they're doomed, and he replies, yes, but a thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. That's Fading Lights. I just, as you get older, I can go, I'm feeling, today I'm feeling, I almost said something, I guess, tell you off here. It's like, today I'm feeling I can't dance.
Yeah.
Sorry, anyway, Bowie. I guess that's it for Bowie.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Do the Doors get any love here? Wow. Oh, man. I think the less I say about... Here, I'll say this about the Doors. There's three guys in that band, and one of them was highly overrated. The other two are geniuses.
On my end, I like the Doors if you give me a greatest hits album.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I will listen to the Doors up and down, but I wouldn't go and listen to anything that isn't known by the entire world.
The three guys, the one I meant 4 and 3, and the one is overrated because I always forget about Krieger.
Well, he had the moves like Jagger, no?
Oh, god damn it. Ray Manzarek, John Densmore, and I always forget Robbie Krieger. So if you can guess what the guy I said is overrated, it's the guy that everybody goes, he's the greatest thing ever.
The only thing I can't get over sometimes when listening to the Doors is the very high octane organ keyboard sound in a lot of their songs. Like, it's good, it's there, it provides your hook and all that shit, but sometimes it's so shrill that it hurts to listen to.
I'll say this, Badass. Individual songs are fine. There's the band itself is a little, Jim Morrison is much for me. But individual songs, it's the Doors. Who the hell am I to say they suck? But as far as Jim Morrison, that's the thing about Ray Manzarek. You mentioned the keyboard. I understand what you're saying about the high octane, high name. Oh, what song? People Are Strange. Got it. I'm sorry, I was reading that wrong. He's also the bass player. He's playing the bass on the keyboard. So that's why that band didn't have a bass player.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just think Jim Morrison is overrated. What can I say? That'll be on another discussion for another time, which that list is coming out soon.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, moving on. The last episode that we did, which was a quick one to just come up with, and it ended up being a whole deep dive into just what we were talking about before, which was genres and how genres really don't matter, was all about new wave. And the big discussion of what is new wave.
Which is, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Because for those that did not get to hear the spiel, I'll condense it down to like a Cliff Notes. But basically, new wave is goth music, new wave is industrial, new wave is alternative. Basically, new wave is anything that could not be put into a picture-perfect box of, is this rock or is this pop? And every subgenre that is out there today, pop industrial, synthwave, grunge, alternative, etc., fall under the new wave banner, which in essence, when you really break it down, fall under the prog rock banner, because prog rock was all about experimentation.
Basically what we're saying is prog rock.
Boom.
Yeah, was there anything on that list that you hadn't heard before? I will be honest, I'm a bigger new wave fan than I realized, because really the only thing I didn't recognize was the gunship stuff.
Yeah, because I put the gunship. Okay. I put gunship on that because right now they are, I would personally say, one of the forefront runners. What? What is a forefront runner? Okay, now I'm the derpy one. Yeah.
I'm still kind of breaking on that one.
Gunship.
Four Front Runners is the name of my prog rock band.
Because okay, hold on. All right,
I'm not editing it. It's staying in.
Gunship right now, I would say, are the front runners in what is called the synth wave genre, which is quite literally 1980s like sci-fi background music movie songs.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's what Gunship sound literally is. And if you were to watch their music videos, that is what their music videos are. They will take clips from Terminator and Blade Runner and all those other movies of the 80s and just piece them together for their videos because their songs are a soundtrack to 80s sci-fi anything.
Is there anything on here for you that stood out?
I'm just looking at it.
Nothing
stood out. I would say the Killers because
I took a risk putting them on that list.
No,
I'm a poet and you didn't know it.
Because I saw them as new wave back when they first came out. Because I remember hearing somebody told me pop up on the radio, and I'm like, why don't I know this? It's
I thought it was a new wave English new wave band. No, they're from Nevada.
Exactly, that's what I thought they were. And from there, though, I did explore other Killers tracks.
Ah, very good, very good.
And while I do have certain faves, like I love When You Were Young and Read My Mind and everything, but say right now, I think I'm like in love with Bones. I'm in a
Bones.
Yeah.
Did you see the music video for that yet?
Oh, I've seen the music video when it first came out.
You know who directed that music video? Okay, yes, you do.
Burton, yes.
Which,
remember,
I was like, yeah, that's right down your alley.
Yeah, because we discussed how Tim Burton's new wave.
He also directed. Yes, very new. He's the new wave music movie maker, which also explains there's another song that's not new wave by the Killers, but it's man, it tears you up. It's called "Here with Me" from Battleborn, and that music video is directed by Tim Burton. Watch the music video and text me.
Got it.
Because you'll be like, oh yeah, that's Tim Burton. I wonder why that person's in this music video. You'll understand when you see it.
Is it the wife?
No, it's not, but it is a female.
Ex-wife? Wife? My mom's drunk texting me.
My mom has done that before. My mom has drunk texted me and Shauna on many occasions where Shauna will then go, your mom's drunk. And I'm like, I noticed.
Asking me how many tacos I want from the
84. Too much?
Oh. No.
Did any of the Boingo stuff hit you at all?
Yeah, because
oh no.
no, to be honest, I only know of like one Oingo Boingo song.
Mm-hmm.
The title of it escapes me completely right now.
Is it Dead Man's Party or is Weird Science?
I know Weird Science, but I don't really care for that song. No.
Well, neither does he. He hated it because the producers went in and cut it and released it.
There's another. I'm gonna have to search.
Is it on this list?
No.
Ooh. It's got to be Dead Man's. It's not Dead Man's Party?
I think so. I don't think it is.
Hold on, let me pause the podcast. Hold on, I got to know what this. And I'm just gonna say it's probably Stay.
Yeah, it's probably Stay. That's gonna drive me absolutely crazy now, though. Like I'm gonna have to listen to all of their shit tomorrow and be like, "This is the one. This is the one."
Well, I put the song. Yes, but that's new wave. That's what Boingo Boingo is. What people's definition of new wave is to me. And Depeche Mode. Let me just say about Depeche Mode. I don't think they've ever really changed, and I mean that in a good way. And I think I mentioned this on this episode. Depeche Mode is like AC/DC of new wave. Where they've like, this is what we do, man, and it's weird when I say that. I'm indicating it hasn't freshened. It's like not fresh. It is. Listen to Personal Jesus. Listen to Enjoy the Silence. which is not just Depeche Mode, but you get my point. And then go listen to Background World. Not Background World. That's Nine Inch Nails. We are not there yet. Going backwards. So new technology. I'll get the name of the song. I think it's called We're Going Backwards. That's the name of the song, Going Backwards, which was, I think, from 2012.
I think so, yeah.
Background World is Nine Inch Nails, electronic, same difference. But yeah.
I mean, even their most recent album, which was in 2000, I want to say 16, 17, when I saw them live. It was Where's the Revolution? Latest album still had that new wavy, borderline goth, and I say that because a lot of the people showed up in goth clothes to MSG.
You know what I appreciate about them? They didn't get 30 guys in the band. The last album was Spirit in 2017. Whereas the Revolution was the single, and that's the album. I'm sorry, 2017, not 12. Going Backwards is on that album.
Yes.
So yes, you're talking about the same band doing the same thing. They sound exactly the same. It's fresh. It's the same. And I say that about AC/DC in the same good way. You may not like their music, but they haven't changed one goddamn bit, and they haven't had to.
Exactly.
I don't think I got anything else. I think I'm good. I think for the next episode, which is what we should talk about off air. So never mind. Do the outros.
Okay. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Manic Mixtape. We hope you enjoyed our run through of all these. What is it? Amalgam.
Compilation.
Let's not get confusing. Compilation of songs of every genre.
We're already there.
I know, right? Every genre you can think of, because on this show, genres don't fucking matter. Nope. Join us next time for an episode that shall be revealed then, because we're going to talk about it as soon as we're done.
Yeah. Which is now. Goodbye.
Bye.